I was Joshua's caged canary for 3 years. The day I found out I was accidentally pregnant, I overheard his twin brother say, "Bro, I've been pretending to be you and playing with your canary for so long, won't she freak out if she finds out?" Joshua replied carelessly, "What's there to be afraid of? She won't leave. Besides, it's not the first time we've switched. But don't play the pregnancy card with me. It disgusts me." Bullet comments suddenly appeared in front of my eyes. I'm dying, she's pregnant and still stupidly happy. Not knowing Joshua never touched her. It was his twin brother who messed around with her and got her pregnant. Joshua only has eyes for the female lead. Even if the supporting girl is pregnant with his kid, he'd still kick her out with the baby. I didn't cry or make a fuss. I kept playing the part of Joshua's canary. Secretly, I scheduled an abortion and booked a plane ticket abroad. The day I was caught getting the procedure, he went crazy and grabbed his brother by the throat. "Who said you could touch her?" Chapter 1. The day I found out I was accidentally pregnant. I went to the club Joshua frequented. Despite the heavy rain, by the time I arrived, my hair was slightly damp. Just as I was about to push the door open, I heard Joshua's cold voice from inside. "Had enough fun? When are we switching back?" His twin brother Kevin said. "No way. I'm not done yet." Joshua frowned. "You didn't sleep with her, right? You know our rule." Kevin froze almost imperceptibly, then slowly curled his lips into a smirk. "What's the big deal? I didn't." He raised his glass. "But even if I did, would you really care?" Joshua paused, looking slightly uncomfortable. "Of course not. It's just filthy." A round of jeering burst out from inside the room. "Second young Master Han, you're even messing around with women your brother already had? Come on." No one blames him. With a face like Freya's, who wouldn't want a piece? She's got curves in all the right places. Ass like a ripe peach, practically ready to be picked. Only young Master Hans the prude here won't even touch her anymore. A woman sitting next to Joshua chuckled. "Why does Freya sound like a public toilet? Anyone can take a turn." The room erupted with laughter. I recognized that woman. Diana, the spoiled little princess of a rich family circle, Joshua's childhood sweetheart. The one he always kept close and cherished. Someone asked, "Whose idea was it to take things this far?" Diana raised an eyebrow. "They're too dumb. It was obviously mine." Freya would never dream that Joshua had a twin brother. "They should be thanking me. Without me, they wouldn't have had this much fun." Joshua gave a doting smile. Yes, you're the smartest." Someone asked. "I heard 7 days from now, young Master Han is going to marry Freya. That true?" Joshua Han smirked. "Of course not. The little girl wanted a title, so I played along." Diana suddenly sat up, her eyes glinting with mischief. "When you guys get married in 7 days, you should tell her right then how the two of you have been taking turns on her this whole year. I want to see her reaction live. Isn't it fun to push someone off a cliff the moment they get closest to happiness?" Joshua let out a helpless laugh. "How old are you now?" "Still this childish." Diana pouted. "Childish as I may be, you've always given me whatever I wanted since we were kids. But you guys better be careful not to accidentally knock her up. Women from the slums are hard to get rid of once they're pregnant." Joshua frowned slightly. "Don't joke like that. None of us have ever touched her." Diana tilted her head and asked, "But what if, by chance, she is pregnant?" Joshua chuckled indifferently. "Then just kick her out, right, Kevin?" Kevin was zoning out, hearing Joshua call him. He answered a beat too late. "Yeah." Bullet comments flashed across the screen. "I'm dying. Kevin says he never touched her, but he's already been screwing her behind his brother's back. She's pregnant and still grinning like a fool." Not knowing it was the twin brother who did her, Joshua never laid a finger on her. Joshua only loves the female lead. Even if this girl is carrying his baby, she'd still be tossed out with the child. This is great. Joshua stays pure for the female lead, and Kevin just uses the side girl for practice. Now this is the kind of story I live for. I looked at those heartless comments. Then I looked down at the pregnancy test stick in my hand, 2 solid lines. When I ran here through the pouring rain, my plan was to tell Joshua the news immediately. I was really pregnant. But now, it seemed totally unnecessary. Chapter 2. That very afternoon, I scheduled the abortion and bought a plane ticket for 7 days later. The same day as the wedding, the sugar daddy would still be handing out living expenses in the coming days. I could pocket one last payment. Since they planned to expose the truth at the wedding and humiliate me, why not beat them to it, run away from the wedding, and turn their whole plot into one giant joke? Anyway, after being a full-time canary all these years, I've saved up quite a bit. Especially lately, my savings rate had doubled. No wonder Joshua always transferred the money twice, again and again. Mystery solved, it was Joshua transferring it once, and his brother Kevin doing it again. I gently stroked my little treasure trove. It all started back in college when I got involved with Joshua. Diana was my college roommate. She really enjoys playing pranks that ruin people's futures. Back in high school, she once had one of her rich second-gen friends chase after an ordinary girl. Every day it was roses, luxury bags, showering her with gifts like crazy. The girl had never experienced anything like it, and within days, she fell hard. Right before college entrance exams, Diana told her friend to dump the girl. The heartbreak crushed her. She used to be a good student, but she messed up the exam badly. Right after the exam, she jumped off a building and ended up in a vegetative state. Diana, on the other hand, happily got into a good university and became my roommate. She set her eyes on me, the girl working 3 jobs to survive. And why was I doing that? Because I was a fallen beauty queen with a gambling father, a dead mother, and a sick grandmother. This time, I became her new game. Joshua was the male lead she handpicked for me, a math genius at Ching University, a campus heartthrob whose candid photos could go viral overnight. And he was also the heir to the Han Corporation, with a future beyond imagination. Diana approached Joshua and had him woo me, make me his girlfriend. According to her script, Joshua would spoil me rotten with money. Then once I got used to that life, he'd dump me, leaving me to crumble in the face of that devastating contrast. Joshua was indeed very good to me. He showered me with endless gifts, pitted my tragic background, forbade me from working part-time, and came up with new surprises every day. But I was a hoarder. Whatever money Joshua gave me, I stashed it away. The jewelry he gifted, I never wore it. I'd list it online and sell it at high prices. I was terrified of being poor again, and had a low sense of self-worth. Money gave me security. The more I hoarded, the safer I felt. Besides, I wasn't stupid. I could feel it. Joshua seemed to be acting. Every time he held my hand, I caught the fleeting trace of mockery in his eyes. I never figured out why he didn't like me, yet still chose to confess his love. But the fact remained, he was rich and reckless. So I had to hoard more. After all, opportunity doesn't knock twice. We did all the things a normal couple would: date, hug, kiss. In winter, I'd even knit him scarves by hand as gifts. The day my grandma fell gravely ill was the first time I ever reached out to Joshua and asked for an expensive birthday present. I remember he paused for a moment, then smiled. I'll never forget that explosion of glee and twisted amusement in his pupils. Like a viper finally flicking out its tongue. They thought I must have been spoiled rotten by now, ruined. Everything was going according to plan. The next day, Joshua brought up breaking up with me. Diana had been waiting to see me spiral after losing the cushy life, crying, begging, threatening suicide, clinging to Joshua in desperation, looking completely pathetic. But what she saw instead was me going back to my normal life, working, studying, living in peace. I just allowed myself a tiny bit of relief, cut down from 3 part-time jobs to 2. Sometimes I could afford to add a sausage and an egg to my instant noodles, and a cup of milk afterward. I even gained 6 pounds. I didn't beg for a reunion, didn't act like I was dying without Joshua. I even deleted all his contact info the moment we broke up. Nothing went as Diana had expected. She lost her temper, thinking the game was utterly boring. From that point on, she started targeting me in the dorm, putting nails in my shoes, pouring cold water on my blanket in the middle of winter. Later, my dad racked up huge gambling debts with the Han family. To pay off the debt, he offered me up as collateral. That's how I accidentally became Joshua's kept woman. Honestly, I'd been thinking lately about settling down with him for real. Joshua had always been aloof. He never touched me. But since the beginning of the year, he suddenly became willing to kiss me. That night, he came home drunk. I helped him onto the couch and made him some hangover tea. Then he suddenly wrapped his arms around my waist, pulled me into his embrace, and gently kissed my lips. I rarely kissed anyone, I nearly ran out of breath. He chuckled softly. So this is what you taste like, sweet. Next time we kiss, remember to breathe. That night, he took my first time. After that, he started trying all sorts of thrilling things with me. He didn't like protection. He liked doing it when the housekeeper and maids were around. All I could do was bite my lip and endure it. And the more I endured, the more fun he seemed to have. He had this weird habit when we were in bed. He liked to make me call his name again and again. What's my name? Joshua. You're Joshua. No, say it again. What's wrong? Joshua, MMPH. He suppressed the rage in his eyes. The more I called his name, the rougher he became. Though he was strange in bed, like a rabid dog that needed calming, he was also clingy, loved to kiss me, knew my stomach was weak, and made me porridge to warm it. On my birthday, he lit up the whole city skyline with fireworks. As they bloomed gloriously in the night sky, he stroked my head and said, "Baby, let's live a good life together." Whenever I had nightmares, he'd wake me up and carefully hold me in his arms, whispering, "Don't be scared, my sweet girl." I slowly started to think maybe I really did like him a little. A few months ago, once again, he pinned me to the bed, refusing to use a condom. I asked, "What if I get pregnant?" He kissed me. "Then have it. I'll take care of everything." He was the one who brought up marriage. That night, after everything, he leaned over me and said, "Baby, don't just be my lover, be my partner." Thinking back now, ever since the first night we slept together, that man probably wasn't Joshua. It was Kevin. And the proposal, that was just the next prank in their game. This child, I really did want to keep it. But now, it seems, there's no point anymore. Chapter 3. 5 days until I leave the country. By now, I could already tell the Han brothers apart with ease. Joshua was cold and moody, rarely smiled, a total workaholic. Kevin was clingy and playful, and had a mole on his V-line. You could see it every time he got naked during sex. I didn't know whether Joshua had that mole or not. He'd never touched me. That morning, when I came downstairs, Joshua was sitting there reading the newspaper with gold-rimmed glasses. "Freya, dress nicely today. We have guests coming." He was reading a newspaper early in the morning, wearing gold-rimmed glasses, and speaking coldly. This was the real Joshua. The bullet comments were wild with excitement. He. Today's the day she officially meets Kevin. Kevin's already had his way with her so many times, knows all her sensitive spots, and still has to pretend like he doesn't know her. That must be torture. That's what people from the slums are like. They'll endure anything for money. Diana's way better. A true heroine, never relying on anyone. This meetup is clearly to set up the big public humiliation scene on the birthday. I can't wait. The female lead is such a cunning little minx. Love her. I went upstairs and changed. At noon, Kevin arrived with Diana. Looking at the identical face, I feigned surprise, showing just the right amount of astonishment. Joshua introduced him to me. "This is my twin brother. He just got back from a business trip abroad." Kevin reached out his hand to me. "Nice to meet you." I shook his hand too. "Nice to meet you." I smiled. "Wow, you two really do look exactly the same." Kevin's expression didn't flinch in the slightest. His smile was warm and harmless. "There's a lot more you don't know." Sometimes, I had to admire Kevin. After sleeping with me God knows how many times, he could still pretend like we'd never met. Diana smiled. "No need to introduce me. Freya and I were college roommates. After all." She grabbed my arm. "I heard you're getting married soon. Joshua and I already discussed it. I'll be your bridesmaid. Okay?" Before she could finish, the chef came to inform us that lunch was ready. At the table, Diana sat between Joshua and Kevin. She rested her cheek on her hand and asked me with a bright smile, "Freya, have you noticed Joshua acting any different lately?" I knew exactly why she asked that. She just wanted to see me embarrassed. So I went along with her little performance. I put down my chopsticks and nodded. "Yeah, he really has changed a lot this past year." In that moment, it was like time froze. They all paused for a second. Especially the Han brothers, their expressions stiffened noticeably. Then I suddenly chuckled and blushed lightly. He's been so much sweeter to me. I think I'm falling for him more and more. Joshua looked over at Kevin, his face darkening. While we ate, Kevin naturally peeled some shrimp and placed it in my bowl, saying affectionately, "Sweetheart, garlic shrimp. No shell, your favorite." The next second, the whole table froze. Kevin realized what he'd said, but remained calm. "My brother always calls you that," just slipped out. I nodded. "You're quite considerate." Joshua shot Kevin a warning glare. I ignored them and popped the shrimp into my mouth. Chew, chew, chew. Then I frowned. Not good. Fishy. I felt nauseous, covering my mouth. I rushed to the bathroom. After I threw up, Diana looked at me with a knowing smirk. Could it be morning sickness? Both Joshua and Kevin stared at me simultaneously. I replied, "No, just an upset stomach." "So what if I vomit?" "Vomiting's good, helps you lose weight." Joshua set down his chopsticks, his smile cold and stiff. "Any skinnier and you'll start bruising my hands." Chapter 4. That night after dinner, Joshua and Kevin went together to drop Diana off at home. They came back very late. When they returned, one of them went straight into the shower. I wasn't entirely sure if the one showering now was Joshua or Kevin. I saw his phone placed on the nightstand. I casually picked it up. The bullet comments were immediately outraged. "What does the side girl think she's doing? How dare she snoop on her sugar daddy's phone? Is she tired of living? Relax. It's password protected. The password's Diana's birthday. This idiot's never gonna crack it in a million years." Well, at that moment, I really had to thank the bullet comments. After all, we used to be roommates. Diana always made a huge fuss about her birthday. Hard not to remember it. I quickly typed in Diana's birthday. Sure enough, the phone unlocked. I opened WeChat and found a chat between Joshua and Kevin. "Joshua, switch back in a couple days." Kevin, "No, I'm not done playing." Joshua, "She said you've been really good to her this past year. Don't tell me you caught feelings." Kevin didn't respond for a long time. Kevin, "No, of course not. Didn't you say the better we treat her, the harder she'll crash when the dream breaks? I've been with her most of this past year. Now that it's almost over, I'm worried she'll get suspicious." Joshua, "Got it. You really haven't touched her?" Kevin, "No. Why? Are you getting jealous?" Joshua, "No, I just don't want my toy getting dirted. I'm warning you, play if you want, but don't cross the line. That's the rule." So it was Kevin who came home today. 10 minutes later, Kevin came out of the shower. I was playing a mobile game like nothing happened. Kevin gently picked up my wrist and said, with a hint of meaning, "You got your nails done that long again? My back's covered in your scratches." I replied, "Then call the cops." Kevin paused for a second, then let out a low chuckle. "Baby, why are you so cute?" He gently cupped my face and leaned down to kiss my lips. His hand slid sneakily under my shirt. I quickly pushed him away. "I've got stomach pain today." Kevin frowned. "Your stomach? Your ulcer acting up again?" I shook my head. "No." His hand moved to my lower belly. "Let me rub it for you." I pushed his hand away. "No need." Kevin's hand froze midair. After a long pause, he let out a cold snort. "Fine, be that way. I won't care anymore." We didn't speak for a long while. That night, my lower stomach kept hurting. I tossed and turned, unable to sleep, curling up into a ball. I didn't know how late it was when Kevin let out a soft sigh. He pulled me into his arms, gently patting my back. His voice was drowsy and slightly hoarse. "Sweet girl, don't feel bad, it's okay. When I was little, my mom used to pat my back just like that." That memory had become so distant it felt like a dream. But now Kevin was doing the same thing to me. I couldn't help but feel how utterly ironic it all was. Chapter 5. In the morning, I groggily woke up to find Kevin already awake. He was standing beside the bed, scrolling through my phone, his expression far from pleasant. Seeing I was awake, he turned to me with a cold, fake smile, like a damp, ghostly man. "Baby, tell me honestly, are you hiding something from me?" I yawned lightly. "What could I possibly hide from you?" His face darkened, lips curling into a thin smile. "Not talking? All right then, tell me this." He shoved my phone in front of my face. practically against my nose. Why did an abortion clinic send you pre-op instructions for a termination procedure? His voice grew colder. Baby, how come I didn't know? You're pregnant. In that moment, my whole body went stiff, temples pounding, but I quickly regained my composure. Oh, you're overreacting. Probably just from browsing shady websites, must have clicked on some pop-up ad. If I were actually pregnant, I'd definitely tell you. Use it to control you completely. Kevin raised an eyebrow. You browse shady websites? I nodded. Always good to learn more. He lifted my chin. All those moves I teach you every day aren't enough? You want more? Aren't you afraid I'll go crazy? He pulled me into his arms and asked, "Tell me, what have you been learning?" I replied, "I don't know, didn't remember any of it." Suddenly, he burst out laughing. "So dumb, looks like I'll have to teach you myself." He looked at me. "Freya, just 4 days left until our wedding. On that day, I'll make you the happiest bride in the world. All right?" I didn't answer, because we wouldn't be getting married, and there was no future to speak of. Chapter 6. Joshua and Kevin were busy planning the wedding, and I was busy packing for my departure and transferring out every last asset I had extracted from the Hahn family. I had a close friend abroad named Alicia. She had already booked a hospital bed for me overseas for the procedure. She also helped find me a place to stay, complete with floor-to-ceiling windows and a big sunny balcony. Just the way I like it. The living expenses had also come through, as usual, in 2 parts, from both brothers. 1 payment each. That afternoon, Kevin took me to try on wedding dresses. He poked my belly. "Your tummy's a little puffy. Been eating something tasty lately?" I held my belly. "Mind your own business." He laughed. "About to marry me and suddenly you've got an attitude." He lifted my hand and slid a ring onto my ring finger. A diamond the size of a pigeon egg sat on top. He wrapped me in his arms. "Perfect. You're about to be mine." I let him hold me, responding with a soft mem. The bullet comments were furious. "I can't with this shameless woman. Does she actually think he's going to marry her? Where's your dignity? If she had any pride, she would have left the moment she overheard that stuff." Typical gold digger. You're all right. She's the textbook gold digger side character. Both brothers are rich and hot. Of course she's not gonna run. If she has any sense, she'll take the money and go. Otherwise, Diana's gonna ruin her at the wedding. I wasn't in the mood to argue with bullet comments. In my mind, I was just quietly estimating how much this ring could sell for. Chapter 7. 2 days left before I leave the country. For the first time ever, I splurged at a bar, ordered a few male escorts to dance for me. Give me a little private strip show. I wanted to try what it felt like to casually pick men for fun. Just 1 glass of liquor had me coughing and choking. Right then, we heard something unpleasant. Diana was sitting at the bar not far away. She was completely drunk, slurring her words. "Once we humiliate her at the wedding, just kick her out already. Watching her squeeze between the 2 of you every day is seriously annoying." For the first time, Joshua didn't immediately indulge her. He was silent for a moment, then slowly said, "Let's talk about this later." Diana paused and turned to Kevin. "Kevin, what about you?" Kevin looked away. "She's so clingy to me. I mean, to my brother. If we suddenly tell her to leave, I'm worried she won't take it well." Diana looked displeased. "You two aren't going soft on me, are you? Back in college, you both agreed to the prank on Freya, and when it didn't work, when she didn't go crazy after the breakup, you guys weren't satisfied either. You even wanted to find another chance to break her down. This time's a golden opportunity. We have to crush her, grind her into the dirt." Their drinking buddies at the table tried to smooth things over. "Diana just cares too much about you both. Freya's nothing. Once you're bored, just toss her." You really gonna hurt Diana's feelings over some side girl? Remember when we used to play house as kids? You fought to be Diana's husband. She grew up with you too. If she asked for the stars in the sky, you'd find a way to get them for her. Why reject her over something this small? If she really puts up a fuss, Joshua, just throw her a farewell f***ck. You haven't even touched her after all these years, might as well let her have one for closure. The bullet comments erupted. What's up with the Hahn brothers? Weren't they always putty in Diana's hands? Do you think they're starting to catch feelings for the side girl? Even Kevin, he's cooked so many meals for her. Could he be falling for her slowly? Don't kid yourselves. In the novel, once they found out she was pregnant, they locked her in a basement and tortured her to death. I didn't read those bullet comments. I held my breath, waiting for their response. After a long pause, I heard Joshua speak softly. Got it. In that moment, my heart skipped a beat, emptied out. Just as I expected. Chapter 8. The Wedding Day. Joshua wore a perfectly tailored black suit, handsome and striking. Kevin, as the best man, wore a crisp white tuxedo, dazzling under the spotlight. Diana wore a custom-made bridesmaid dress that looked more like an evening gown, flashier than even my bespoke wedding dress. Like a little princess, she held a camcorder in her hand, ready to capture the moment I broke down in despair, to turn it into her personal trophy. Every victim of her pranks, she always recorded them as keepsakes. She probably wanted everyone to witness the moment I realized I'd been toyed with for an entire year by two men taking turns like it was a game. Diana even hired someone to live stream the whole thing. People in the live stream had no idea what was going on, but seeing that it was a wedding, they all chimed in with blessings. Facing the camera, she smiled sweetly and said, "Oh no, I'm not the bride. I'm just the childhood sweetheart of both the groom and best man. I've been pampered by these two since I was little. Of course I had to be a bridesmaid at his wedding." "Really? I'm not as pretty as you all say. You keep complimenting me, careful. The bride might get upset. She's actually kinda petty. But today, I have a special surprise gift for the bride. I hope you'll all look forward to it." The livestream viewers started discussing the mysterious bride. But by noon, when all the guests had arrived, the bride was still nowhere to be seen. Joshua's expression began to shift. He was starting to realize something was wrong. He tried calling me, only to find he'd been blocked. He sent a message. "Freya, it's our wedding day. Don't pick a fight with me today." Just then, a loud gasp erupted from the wedding guests. On the giant wedding screen, a video started playing, footage from that day at the club. Kevin's voice came first. "Bro, I've been pretending to be you and playing with your canary for so long. What if she finds out and runs?" "Relax, she won't leave. Besides, it's not the first time we've switched. But don't get her pregnant again, I find it disgusting. I heard the eldest Han brother is marrying Freya in 7 days. Is that true?" "Of course not. The girl wants a title, I'm just stringing her along." "Pfft. Freya's like a public toilet, anyone can take a turn. When you marry her in 7 days, you better tell her how you've been taking turns on her all year long. I want to see her face. Pushing her into the abyss right when she thinks she's found happiness, what's not to love?" End of video. The wedding fell into chaos. On screen, the final frame was a taunting yellow emoji pulling down its eyelid, followed by a few lines of text. "Game over. Satisfied? Oh, and Kevin, been meaning to say this, your skills in bed suck. I haven't enjoyed a single moment this whole year. Even the 8 male escorts I hired were better than you. Goodbye forever. I really don't have time for your games anymore." The live stream viewership exploded, and the comment section went wild. "I'm dead. These jerks tried to set someone up and got played themselves. This is disgusting. I want to slap the woman once and the men 10 times each." "So where's the bride? Did she run away? Isn't it obvious? The ceremony's halfway through and she hasn't even shown up. They wanted to humiliate the bride today. Now they get to taste the shame for themselves. How does it feel?" Diana's face turned ghostly pale. She covered her face and screamed, "Turn it off! Shut the live stream down, now!" Meanwhile, I had already landed, arms wide open as I ran toward my friend waiting at the airport. Laughing joyfully, I shouted, "Alicia! I'm free!" Chapter 9. After arriving in France, I moved in with Alicia. Alicia had watched the live stream of Diana's wedding fiasco. She slapped her thigh laughing. "They set up that whole show to trick you. And who would have thought you were acting the whole time too? When did that little brain of yours get so clever?" "Did you hear? The whole Han family's in chaos. Word is, ever since you left, the Han brothers have been going crazy trying to find you." That didn't surprise me. After all, I humiliated them hard before I left. Especially Kevin, I made sure to emphasize how bad he was in bed. To be fair, he was actually pretty skilled. He'd leave me trembling every single time. But since I was walking away clean, I had to make the exit brutal and heartless. I bit into an apple. By the way, Alicia, how's the abortion appointment coming along? Alicia said. Don't worry, just need to do a few exams. All right, let's get it done as soon as possible. You got it. Alicia accompanied me to the hospital for all the necessary tests. I was scheduled for a painless abortion, a week before the surgery. Alicia bought me a huge snack gift box to cheer me up, telling me not to be nervous. I hugged the gift box, eyes misting up. There's no way life would be the same with just anyone. On the day of the procedure, I lay on the hospital bed, anesthetic already administered. I gradually lost control of my body, and my consciousness began to blur. Then I heard someone approaching. Was it the doctor? The footsteps drew closer and closer. I struggled to open my eyes. I couldn't quite make out the figures, but a chill crawled down my spine. Then came full-blown dread. The ones who came in weren't doctors. It was Joshua and Kevin, along with a group of black-suited bodyguards from the Hahn family. The last voice in my head whispered, "It's over." I wanted to move, to run, but the anesthesia had already taken over. I couldn't move at all. I was like a lamb waiting for slaughter. In the final sliver of consciousness, Joshua gently leaned down and carried me away. Kevin stood behind him, clenching his fists. Chapter 10. I woke up in a villa I'd never seen before. Joshua was quietly sitting by my bedside. Around his neck was the navy blue scarf I had hand-knitted for him back in the day. It didn't match his high-end, custom-made suit at all. Seeing me awake, he looked over, voice hoarse. "You're awake. Are you hungry?" I looked at him. "Why are you here?" He let out a soft sigh and gently stroked my hair. "If I want to find you, I'll always find a way." I shrank back nervously. "You found me, to torture me?" Seeing me recoil, he paused and furrowed his brow. "Why would you think that? Have I ever hurt you physically?" "Then let me go." "Not a chance." He hugged me tightly. "From now on, I'm not letting you go anywhere." From that day on, Joshua kept me locked inside the villa. I started a hunger strike, refusing to eat or drink. When he found out, he came in with a bowl and sat in front of me. "I know I've wronged you, but don't harm yourself." From start to finish, I only repeated one sentence. "I want to leave." "Leave? Go where?" "To a place without you people." "Why?" he asked. "I can give you everything you want. I can spoil you, keep you in luxury for the rest of your life. Or, did you fall in love with Kevin?" I stared at him coldly. "Does it matter? You're both garbage. Don't make me choose between a chocolate that tastes like shit and a shit that tastes like chocolate, okay?" It was as if my words had wounded him. He was silent for a long time. When he finally spoke, his voice was hoarse. "Freya, I actually wanted to marry you for real. That day, I already warned Kevin not to listen to Diana, not to tell you anything. I just wanted you to feel at ease, to go through with the wedding. From now on, I wouldn't have let him near you again." I let out a cold laugh. "Oh, and when you handed me over to your brother's bed, you were being what, generous?" His face turned deathly pale. "I never thought of it that way. I never let him touch you. That was our rule. I didn't know he would break it. I know you're hurting now, that you feel wronged. Don't worry, I'll get you the best doctors, the most professional care. I'll make sure you don't suffer at all during the abortion. I won't let Diana bully you ever again. I've already bankrupted her family. I'll use everything I have to make it up to you. From now on, just pretend none of this ever happened. Whatever you want, I'll give it to you." I suddenly raised my hand and slapped him hard across the face. "In your dreams, you think I can just forget everything because you said so? Life doesn't work like that." Joshua's face tilted slightly from the blow. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. "Feel better? If not, hit me again," I said coldly. "Get out." He was silent for a long time before slowly standing up. "I'll come back tomorrow." That night in my dreams, I curled up in bed, dreaming of lying on my dorm bunk, crying. I never told anyone, but the day I broke up with Joshua back in college, I cried quietly. I had already grown used to hiding my scars, to crying in silence. Did I like Joshua? I probably did. Otherwise, why did my heart ache so much that night? Why did it hurt so badly? Why did I spend the whole night blaming myself, telling myself I shouldn't have asked Joshua for a gift? Even though I knew he never really liked me. In the dream, I felt someone gently cover my eyes. He said, "Sweet girl, don't cry, don't cry." The next day, I opened my eyes. Kevin was standing in front of me. He had snuck me out. His body was bruised. His neck blotched with purple marks. His eyes were bloodshot. He hadn't slept in days. He looked at me and said, "I'm sorry." I felt numb. I'd heard too many sorries in the past few days. He gazed at me with heartache. "He didn't hurt you, did he?" I said, "Don't you think it's ironic, asking me that?" These two competed to hurt me. Who was really any better? He pressed his lips together. He wanted to ask, "Why didn't you tell me you were pregnant?" But his mouth opened and closed again, because they'd said it themselves. If I got pregnant, I'd be kicked out. He knew he had no right to ask anymore. He clenched his fists. "Freya, you knew from the start this was a game. So, every kiss we shared this past year, every hug, every night tangled up together, every I like you said, was it all fake?" I wanted to tell him, "Yes, you're absolutely right. All of it was an act." But in the end, I let out a long sigh. "Kevin, I'm not a professional actress. You can't fake liking someone. The day you kissed me first, I was so happy. I couldn't sleep all night. I thought you were finally going to treat me right. I told myself, I'll return the favor and be even better to you. I really did think about having your child, about settling down and living a normal life with you." His pupils trembled violently, and the color drained from his face. I looked at him, my voice as calm as if I were telling someone else's story. "I admit it. That night you filled the whole city with fireworks for my birthday, the way you woke me from nightmares and patiently soothed me back to sleep. No matter how tired you were, it all made me ridiculously happy. You said you'd give me a grand wedding, said you wanted a child with me, until the night I overheard what you said at the club. I believed all of it. I even started flipping through poetry books in secret, wondering what we'd name our child. That day, I rushed through the pouring rain to find you, just to tell you I was pregnant. But I'm not cheap. No one could hear themselves being passed around like a plaything and still stay. I can tell you now, very clearly, I hate you both." His eyes welled with tears. He raised his hand as if to touch me but jerked it back, biting his lips so hard it bled. "Please, don't sentence me to death like this. At least, tell me what I can do, anything at all, just to make you hate me a little less." Outside the window, the wind howled, scattering dead leaves against the glass. I looked into the shattered light in his eyes and said softly, "Let me go." He clenched his hands, inhaling with a shiver. After a long pause, a broken word tore from his throat. "All right, I'll let you go." Chapter 11. When Alicia found out something had happened to me at the hospital, she panicked and almost flew back to China to find me. She rushed to the airport only to see me sitting there, spacing out. She ran to me, frantically checking me all over, then pulled me into a tight hug and cried, "They didn't do anything to you, right?" I patted her head. "Don't worry, they didn't." She sobbed as she spoke. "I thought those two psychos wouldn't let you go unless they skinned you alive. They really let you go just like that?" I thought for a second. Maybe they wanted to earn some karma points. After that, I never saw the Han brothers again. I lived with Alicia, giggling and laughing every day, so happy I forgot the world and its worries. Once in a while, news from back home would trickle in after Diana's family went bankrupt. She tried to cozy up to rich heirs who once had a crush on her, hoping to return to her luxurious lifestyle. But her past deeds were exposed to the public, every single trophy from her twisted prank games made public. Someone even doxed her. The mother of the girl who jumped off a building in high school found her, said nothing, just threw acid in her face. The Han family didn't fare much better. The two brothers were locked in constant infighting. The company was in shambles. Rumor had it Joshua never gave up searching for me. But word also had it that someone had tampered with Joshua's car. He got into an accident, ended up paralyzed from the waist down. Even the bullet comments couldn't believe it. What is happening with this story? I'm so confused. Am I even reading the original plot anymore? What happened to the powerful, graceful female lead we imagined? This isn't what I signed up for. Honestly, I saw it coming. This female lead never had any moral compass, using people's lives for entertainment. Her downfall was deserved. But don't you think the side character was actually kind of cool? She didn't try to climb the ladder with the baby. Cut ties clean. Left without hesitation, totally ruthless. Another 3 years passed. I ran into Kevin. At the time, I was walking with a little one who had just turned 3. When he saw the girl in the dress next to me, his eyes lit up. Freya, is she? I knew what he wanted to ask. I cut him off. She's not yours. I got married. He was silent for a long time, then awkwardly muttered a few words. Right, yeah, that's good. He walked away. Embarrassed. I let out a sigh of relief. The truth is, I never got married. That day, standing outside the abortion clinic with Alicia, after all that chaos, I just couldn't go through with it. Years passed. My daughter grew more and more beautiful, and more like Kevin. Kevin wasn't stupid, he could clearly tell the child was his. All these years, he kept wiring money to my account from an anonymous account, but he never dared come see me. At 7 a.m., I yawned, still curled up in bed. My daughter, wearing her backpack, patted me gently. Mom, I'm going to school. I kissed her on the cheek. Baby, remember to bring mommy back 2 grilled sausages after school, extra cumin. She grinned. Got it. Foodie mommy. Epilogue, Kevin. The day Kevin let Freya go, there was something he had always wanted to say. In the beginning, it was true, he approached her on Diana's orders, just to mess with her. But Freya was so obedient, so soft. When she cried, it was like a little kitten, completely silent. Watching her cry, he found his own heart aching, throbbing in sync with her pain. Without realizing it, he started to catch feelings. At first, it was sweet, but slowly, fear crept in, the fear of Freya finding out the truth. He buried himself in lies of his own making, desperately trying to treat her well. He genuinely wanted to live a real life with her. But he didn't know, did Freya love Joshua, or him? At one point, he even wished she'd carry his child, use the baby to rise in status. It was his only shot at winning. On the wedding day, he wanted her to know the truth, yet also feared she would. He had thought it through. When the truth came out, he'd be gentle. He'd tell everyone that he loved her very, very much. The day she was caught going in for an abortion, Joshua went mad, strangling him and screaming, "Who said you could touch her?" Kevin had never seen him lose it like that. And Kevin thought, Joshua must have loved her too. The both of them, they really deserved each other. Kevin wanted to tell Freya, he'd lied about many things, but loving her, that part was real. Yet when the words reached his lips, he couldn't say them. He thought, forget it. This kind of love that couldn't face the light. Better to keep it from her. No need to disgust her again. The rest of her life should be on a bright, open road. And on that road, there should be no trace of him.